Hello everybody, and welcome to Workout Egg 2.0. This is the beginning of our 2.0 series. This is a great level to enter into if you've already worked on your 0.5, you've already done at least 6 to 8 weeks on 1.0 consistently, getting in mainly 4 of those workouts per week. If you feel like then you're plateauing, it's time to then change your program and move up a level. All right, so let's begin. We're gonna start with a warm-up before we go into our workout. Gotta get the body moving and warm up the muscles. Make sure you have lots of space. You want some big movements. You wanna get the heart rate up. We're starting with some cross taps. So we're going down and over, warming up the shoulders, warming up the ankles, a little bit of a twist in the core. And we'll do each one for 30 seconds. A few seconds left before we go into our hamstring curls. We're gonna wanna make sure our legs are nice and warm for this workout. Here we go, into leg curls and pulling back with the upper body. As I was saying, we wanna make sure we warm up our legs for this particular workout. As you move away from a basic squat in 1.0, we're moving now into split squats for the legs for our 2.0 series. So we wanna make sure that our muscles are nice and warm and stretched out. Few seconds left here. And 3, 2, 1, we're gonna go body weight squats. Down and up. Make sure when you do your squat, as we are training proper squat form in 1.0, your squat should now look like you're going back into the squat at this point, not forward. So if you feel like you're still going forward with your knees for your squat, you might wanna reconsider going back into the form training in the 1.0 series. Few seconds left here, and then we're gonna go back into cross taps. Down and over. Reaching across, getting the heart rate up. Down and up, 30 seconds for warm-up exercise. Few seconds left here, and then we're gonna go into our hamstring curls once again. Here we go, hamstring curls. Pull it back. It's like we're grabbing and bringing it back to our chest. This helps to stretch our chest and warm up our back muscles. Trying to kick behind, curling your leg behind you, warming up those hamstrings, as we're gonna need those nice and warm for our deadlifts that we'll be doing today. Few seconds left of hamstring curls. And 3, 2, and 1, going into squats. Nice and deep, nice and wide. Getting those legs stretched out. Nice and warm. Getting ready for our split squats today. Again, if you feel like this workout's too hard, especially with the leg movements that change, you can continue into the 2.0, but instead of doing split squats, you can still work on your bench squat, but then go into the new series with modifications. And we're gonna reach and straighten to open up our spine. As we're also doing some core today. 2 of our core moves involve a stability ball, but you may also have to use different equipment if you do have something different on hand. And we'll talk about that before we begin each exercise. But if you do have a stability ball handy, it's an amazing tool for working your core. Switching sides. You should feel your heart rate increase for the warm-up. You should feel your muscles a little bit warm now. Your range of motion should be a little bit better as we loosen up our muscles with our movements. Almost there. And last one here. Okay, what we're gonna be starting with today is our chest press. We're gonna be moving from our chest press into our deadlifts. From our deadlifts into our row. I will give you different options based on where you're at in your strength training journey. And then from there, we're gonna be going into split squats, and then we'll have 2 core. And we're doing 3 sets of each. Each exercise will be done for 60 seconds. All right, so if you have a bench and dumbbells, or even a floor, this is where we're gonna be starting our chest press. Just like 1.0, we're gonna be going over some form as we complete each set. I'll be talking a little bit more about that today and shooting you some reminders as we work through each exercise. So rolling back on our back. We have our dumbbells ready. We're adjusting, making sure we have contact with our shoulders as well as our lower back here. And getting ready for 60 seconds of chest press, starting with the weights right beside our chest. Go ahead, straightening up all the way and back down. Now again, sometimes when we change our program, which is what we're doing here in 2.0, we either want to change the movements that we're doing. Sometimes we're going to be doing the same movements, but we might be doing them differently. So if 1.0, you were focusing more on slower moves but heavier weight, for the 2.0, if you're still working on a little bit more fat burn, you might want to shift into more of a lighter weight, higher rep program. This will help to cue a bit more fat burn. We're almost wrapping up our chest press here. Right now I'm going moderate speed with moderate weight. Couple more reps here. One more as we push above our chest, back down, fold it in, bring it to the hips, bring it to the floor. We're now going to be moving into our deadlift. In 1.0, we worked on our hip hinge. Now we're moving into doing our deadlifts. As 1.0A works on full body, so does our 2.0A workout. So we're getting ready. We're lifting our weights. Make sure that when you lift the weights, we don't want arched backs while we lift our weights up into position. We have to make sure that we use a flat back and proper posture and technique when we're lifting, especially if we're lifting a little bit heavier. So we're going into our 60 seconds of deadlift. Our feet are hip width apart. We're going to be sliding the weights down the knee, making sure we have a flat back and coming up nice and slow. Slow and steady, focusing on form, focusing on the muscles that we're activating. We don't want to be going down into a squat. It's a bend over. It is a lift movement, not a squat. A lot of the power is going to be coming from our glutes and our hamstrings. And depending on how strong you are, and the flexibility of your hamstrings as well. This movement is not about touching the floor. It's about bending over with a flat back and strengthening the lower back, powering up from the glutes and the hamstrings. 15 seconds left. Sliding down the leg just below the knees and up. One more here, slide down and up. Great, we're gonna be going into our row now. If you're a little more advanced, you're used to doing deadlifts, bent over movements, you're gonna be going into a bent over row. Okay, we discussed this in 1.0, our bent over row. Looks like this, we're still on our 30-second break. If you're still not quite there with your lower back and some of that stability through the core, lower back, and glutes, you're gonna be going back into the single arm row in 30 seconds per set. Okay, so choose whatever row works best for you and your goals. And here we go, we're starting into our bent over row. We're bent over just like we're doing a deadlift, except this time it's a row. I'm gonna be demonstrating both kinds of rows during this workout, and you can just stay on the style of row that works best for you. Now in our studio, we've used cable rows with cable machines as we have here, and we've also used TRX row. So if you have any of those tools on hand and your own weight machine, I would definitely consider doing a basic row with a rowing machine. A cable machine or anything you have on hand there at the house. So make sure that when you do your bent over row, our back is straight, our shoulders are pulled back. We feel our core working to support our lower back. We feel our glutes as well in a glute hold. We have a few seconds left. And bring it up. Great. Here we go into our leg move for today. It's going to be a split squat. So we're moving away from our basic squat and going into our split squat move. We're on a 30-second break, by the way. So it gives you a chance to catch your breath and grab some water. If you don't feel winded during these 30-second breaks, I would suggest using faster reps or heavier weight so that when the 30-second break does come around, you welcome it. So here we go. Our legs are going to be stationary, front and back, lowering down to the floor and coming up. Watch the knees as well. You might have to reposition for the first few reps. And we're watching our knees. They don't pass the toes. Hopefully we can get our knee right to the floor. Now there is a rule here that if you're not able to do full range of motion with body weight, it's best to not add any weight until you open up those tighter areas of your body. All right, we have one more rep on this side. Now we're switching sides, stepping up and stepping back. So split squatting on the other side, go right into it. There's no break in between these. This is part of the full 60 seconds, 30 seconds per side. Go as fast or as slow as you want. If you're building some strength, you want a bit heavier, you're gonna go slower reps. If you're building a little bit of speed and endurance, you might use body weight and go really fast with your reps. You might use moderate weight, moderate pace. It's whatever is best for you and your goals. And we're already done here with our last rep here. Now we're going into our 2 core moves. Grabbing my stability ball. We're going to be starting with our dead bug, which we did these in our Workout D 1.0 series. So rolling around, we don't need to explain too much here as we've already done these already. Opposite hand and knee, grabbing the ball, bringing the other opposite hand and knee up and letting go. Alternating back and forth, making sure the lower back is pressed towards the floor. This helps to activate the core. It is not the easiest thing to talk the entire time that you do your training exercises. So I'm trying to fit in my own breaths in between talking to you and helping you out on each set that you're completing at home, trying to give you the necessary cues so you can do these exercises properly and that you're activating the right muscles. We're just gonna breathe in and out here for the last few seconds. 15 seconds left here for the dead bug. Opposite hand and knee, the ball is right over top of the body. Lower back is pressed towards the floor. We're almost there. And our last rep is here. Now we're gonna be flipping it over and we're gonna be doing our stability ball ab rollouts. We are on our knees. We are upright. Our fists are at the back of the ball. I call this the back of the ball, I call that the front. The idea is that we're rolling out and our elbows should be near the front of the ball by the time we roll out. We have 5 seconds left before we begin. And go ahead, we're rolling out till the elbows hit the ball and back to the fists. Okay, so pay attention to the posture. When you roll out, you should feel the lats pulling under the arms and this core here pulling back and working together. Roll out and back. A couple things we want to make note of while we complete this exercise is that we do not want to dip our back right down. You are then asking for a lower back injury. Please make sure that you are aware of your hip placement and your lower back placement during this move. It also helps to exercise in front of a mirror so you can watch yourself and you know what proper form feels like. We're almost there. As well as we don't also want to keep the butt all the way up too. We have to make sure that all the way together, this is our last full rep here. As we roll out, everything's in a nice line and we're coming back. We'll just do one more quick one for fun. And there we go. We've just completed set 1 of our 2.0 workout A. Let's grab a drink for those 30 seconds and reset ourselves. sip of water in between reps. We are on a 30-second break. We have 10 seconds left. Going back into our chest press. Grabbing the weights, rolling back, setting the weights beside the chest to start and go ahead. 60 seconds of chest press. Our dumbbells are horizontal across our body, so please, as you're learning how to do strength training, if you're new at this, it's best to understand what the weight placement should look like and what parts of the body the weights are lined up with. And this is really going to make a huge difference moving forward in your strength training journey. Breathing out on the push, breathing in on the return. Two extra breaths here. 15 seconds left. 60 seconds can go pretty fast for most of these exercises, unless you're doing a core plank hold where 60 seconds feels like 5 minutes. Almost done. Got a couple more reps coming up here. Bringing it in, folding it at the chest, bringing it up. The weights are going to be set right at our feet. Coming up, getting ready to go into our deadlift. Make sure we practice proper posture. As we get ready for the deadlift, we're lifting up the weight with a straight, flat back. If you're not able to do this, you'll have to use lighter weights. Powering up through the glutes, lining up the feet. Shoulders go back, go ahead. Bending forward, just below the knees and up. Do not arc the back. Keep the shoulders back. Now notice that the knees are a little bit bent, but it's not a squat bend. It's a bend over bend in the legs. Okay, so noticing those two, which can be confused quite a bit actually. It's a common mistake to mix the two moves. So it's best to know when you're doing a squat and when you're doing a deadlift and what's the difference between the both of them. Almost there. 15 seconds. Nice flat back, straight posture. And down here, and back up. Fantastic. We're going to be going into our rows now. We have a 30-second break. If you're doing a bench row, you might be able to lift a little bit more for the row. If you're doing bent over rows and you're just slowly starting to strengthen the core area of your body, if you do want to try the bent over rows, you will be using lighter weight. If you throw yourself back on the bench and you really just want to train the upper body really well, forget about down here where we at a couple seconds before we go into it. You're going to be able to lift a bit heavier when you do the bench rows. Here we go, single arm row. Make sure the shoulder stays level with your back. Make sure you tuck the arm in as well. We don't want wings when we do a row. Make sure that the arm stays nice and close to the ribs and the core. Lowering the weight nice and slow, nice and controlled. We're already ready to switch sides. Very quick transition like this. The quickest way to do this is to just skip to the other side of the bench without turning your body. Make sure the knee is directly under the hip. Make sure the hand is right underneath the shoulder. This ensures you have a nice straight back and a straight posture to work with. And again, we are able to lift a bit heavier when we go into our single arm row with a bench, because the pressure is off our core and our lower back. Last rep here already. Amazing. That went pretty quick. Now we're going back into our leg move. Split squats. 15 seconds left for our break. We're in this position here. About 5 seconds before we get back to it. Go ahead there, down and up. Check the knee. Down and up. We just don't want the knee to pass the toe. And our goal is to eventually get the knee right down to the floor. If you're not able to do this, it could be some tightness in the hip flexor or quad. So just watch yourself. And if you're still working on that range, we're switching sides right now. If you're still working on that range, I would go body weight until you're able to do this move fully and completely with no balance issues. Or you may also just add 3 or 5 pounds as well. So you're getting a little bit of a challenge while you're working on perfecting the form. One last rep here. We're already done our upper lower body movements and we're already going into our 2 core. We're on the floor here for our dead bug. 15 seconds left of our 30-second break. We want to keep things moving pretty consistently when we train with timed circuits. Opposite hand and knee to the ball. Lower back to the floor. Other arm and leg straight and go ahead. The idea is that we might want to touch the floor with the hand and the heel, but sometimes that takes some time. So work with your own range of motion, but know what the goal is. Know what it's supposed to look like so you understand what you need to work on each week. This is not a cardio move. We're not doing this fast. This is not a race. It's not about who can get more reps in. It's all about core control and stability. Sometimes we have to pull ourselves away from this cardio vibe. We think we have to do everything fast, when really the best results are when we slow down. A few seconds left. And last rep, bringing it in, coming on up. We're on our 30-second break here. And we are going into our stability ball ab rollouts. I have about 3 yoga mats here. I find this is the best padding for any kind of core work. It keeps everything very stable on the floor. It's not hard on the knees. So I find that's the best combination of mats for every movement. Here we go. Hands at the back of the ball, and we should end up with our elbows. It looks like when I roll out, my elbows are in the middle of the ball, and that's about right. I feel like I'm stretched out. I feel like my core is working. My lower back is not dipping down in. My bum is not too far in the air like this. We really need to extend the core, stretch it out, and bring it in. Stretch it out, bring it in. Always keep some kind of weight on the ball. Don't come up all the way because it interferes with the activation of the muscles. Keep some kind of weight on the ball at all times. Keep that core engaged. Now, if you're still working up to your 60 seconds of core control, it's okay to take breaks where needed. And we are almost there. Last rep, and bring it back. We have completed 2 sets. Workout A 2.0. Don't forget to grab your water. Getting ready to go in to our final set. And figuring out what we're doing for our row. Figuring out what our weights are going to be used for our split squat. Bringing our weights up. Rolling back on the bench. Adjust yourself. Weights across the body. And go right into the 60 seconds. Nice, consistent reps. And again, your goals are up to you. If you're going stronger, you want to go heavier, you're going to go heavier weight, slower reps, less reps completed. If you want a bit more of endurance, working on a little bit more stamina, or you're still working on some fat burn, and you're going into a burn circuit, you're going to lighten up the weights and go a bit quicker As long as by the last 10 seconds or a few reps, there's a challenge. Almost there, just a few seconds left. Bring it in to the hips, coming on up. Weights go to the floor. We're going into our deadlift, picking up the weights with a straight back. And here we are, picking up our weights for our deadlift. Straight back, power to the glutes. Position the feet, hip width apart. Go ahead, we're going forward and up. There's a slight bend in the knees, but we're not squatting. The knee bend only happens, believe it or not, when you're almost at your stopping point. That's when the knee is more likely gonna wanna bend to help you stretch those glutes out and those hamstrings. Keep the weights really close to your body. Try not to have this kind of a form where you're reaching out. It's not safe. It's best to keep in any movement the weights as close to your body as possible. So just use this form. You can't go wrong. Slide the weights down. Or if you're using a bar, slide the bar down the legs. Check on your shoulders every now and again. We're 5 seconds left. Last rep here for the deadlift. Bringing it up. When we set the weights down, same thing. We pretend we're in a rep. Make sure the back stays straight. We're now going into our row. Do whatever one you choose. You may go bent over with the weights. If you want just a little more strength on your arms, you go a bit heavier for 30 seconds per side. You're gonna flip back to the bench and go single arm rows. Or maybe you're using a weight machine at home and you can load up some heavier rows. That also works as well. Here we go. Going right into our 60 seconds of rows. So I chose to do single arm rows. I like these ones. My hand is under my shoulders, my knee is under my hip, my back is straight. And I want to go a bit heavier for those 30 seconds. My arm is also close to my core. It's not out like wings. And we're on our last rep here already. Just one more. A quick switch to the other side, just like that. Nice and smooth and quick. The effort for the row is the pull. You're gonna breathe out on the pull and breathe in on the return. It's like this. I might not be doing it all the time because I'm too busy talking. A few seconds left. Last rep right here, and good. We're already moving into our second lower body exercise, which are these split squats. We've been 28 minutes into our workout already. All right, here we go, splitting up the legs. And go ahead there. One leg should be behind the one hip, and the front foot should be in front of the other hip. We need a little bit of that diagonal line for a little bit of stability. So we just don't want a complete straight line. "30 seconds per side. Watch the knee. If there's any pain at all, I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you know you have strong knees or you have no knee issues at all. Switching sides. Whenever we work with members in our program that have had knee surgeries or knee issues, rarely will they work on a split squat. They're more likely gonna work on their basic squat and just add weight and strength to that basic move. So please talk to your doctor or your physiotherapist and ask them if split squats are okay for you and your body. Last rep right here. Fantastic. We have 2 core moves left. Here we are, keep it rolling, keep it moving. The idea, we're all so busy, we wanna make sure we're getting efficient workouts in the shortest amount of time possible. So if you can devote 30 seconds, if you can devote 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes 5 times a week to your strength training goals. And the program that you're doing is focusing on progressive strength, working all parts of the body, all muscle groups, whether they're together with compound movements or isolation where you work on that muscle group individually. That is the kind of program that will help you get long-term results. All right. Hopefully your lower back is pressed to the floor. And again, we're just working on stability, range of motion for a full 60 seconds. And it's so amazing that just before we work out, we might not feel like working out. But during our workout and after, we feel this amazing boost of energy. We feel a lot stronger. We feel maybe a bit more toned. And we're good there for that ab move. Moving up into our stability ball abdominal rollouts. As I was saying, when you work your muscles, your fluid moves from your fat cells into more of your muscle mass and muscle cells. We have about 10 seconds left before we start, which then creates a little bit more. So it's not only the strength training that you do, but the strength training does keep the fluid in the active muscle tissue. And go ahead for reps. We have our fists at the back of the ball. That's where we start. And we roll out to our elbows and back in. Stretching out our core, not too much. We do not want our butt in the air. However, if you are feeling tight here, all this whole move involves stretching the hip flexors. So if you do have tight hip flexors, you may have a hard time getting all the way down. But if that is an area of concern for you, then just work on foam rolling and stretching that area out. But eventually you can get a deeper ab movement. And we always say full range of motion, full results. And we're almost done here. Just a few seconds left. And we're just gonna do one more rep, finish it off, rolling out, coming back in. Amazing. We're gonna take a sip of water here as we end our set. And we're gonna be going right into our stretching. Starting with our kneeling lunge. We did do split squats today. It's the same kind of movement as this kneeling lunge. So if you are tight during your split squats, this is a really good stretch for you. It's really gonna help you loosen up the glute and hamstring under the leg. And it's gonna help you stretch out the core, the lower core here, with the hip flexor, with the quad. So we're holding this into place, getting a really deep stretch, making sure our knee is always over our ankle. If you don't feel the stretch deep enough, you're gonna move your foot forward and lean in for a deeper stretch. Switching sides. And the best stretches you can ever do, which we don't have time to do today at the end of our workout, but when you memorize the stretching routine, a lot of these stretches I do, I repeat them because it helps members that are following our workouts, whether in the studio or at home on YouTube or in the online program, they actually remember them better because it's a routine. So when you can memorize them and you're hanging around at the house and you're watching TV at night, or you've just finished a walk or doing some house chores, take some time, stretch out the muscles. We're going to be going now into cat and cow. From our deadlifts, we want to make sure we stretch our back because we are working our back and core when we do our deadlifts. We're also working our upper shoulders and our glutes and hamstrings. Make sure that you stretch the muscles that we used. Up in cat, down in cow. Try to go as deep as you can. This is a routine I use a lot in my studio. From the cat and cow, we go up into downward dog. Pushing it back a little bit on our hands. If you do feel like you're restricted behind the legs, which a lot of us are, it might take a bit of extra work to loosen up this not so nice tight area behind our legs, but it's worth it in the end. If it helps your strength training or alleviates some other pain going on in your back, it is worth taking the time out This is part of our recovery as well. So if you're training, you should be also making time to recover and stretch and foam roll your muscles. Bring it down into downward dog, reaching forward. Now, if you know that when we did our rollouts, we're doing a little bit of rolling out with our abs. We're using our lats as well. This is a really good stretch. Stretch out as far as you can go. And then you're gonna pull back a little, and then you're gonna feel a little bit of muscle stretching underneath the arms. And the idea here is to eventually get the glutes to touch the heels if you're able to. If not, you may be tight in the glutes or the quads. Even the adductor muscles, which are in your legs, could also be tight as well. It's stopping us from doing what we want to do. Bringing it up into chest stretch. You may do this on your knees. You can do this from a stability ball if you're not able to go on your knees. I have to talk to everybody when I'm doing YouTube videos because I don't really know who's watching or who's enjoying these amazing workouts. We're going into a chest stretch either way, so you can use anything you need to get yourself into a stretch where you're opening up your chest muscles, pulling back and holding here. Breathing in and out, bring your heart rate down gradually with our stretches, and then we're going to go into a side bend. Bending to the side, stretching out the core, stretching out our lats. And switching sides. Nice stretch there on the other side. We're kind of bringing our body down a little bit. And great, all right, thank you so much for completing Workout A 2.0. I hope you enjoy this series. It's amazing. It's a huge game changer. Once you work on your 0.5, 1.0 and you focus on basic moves, going into the 2.0, you're going to notice a huge difference in how you look and feel. Thanks so much, and see you in the next workout.